So today's topic we are going to study is autonomic computing. Now, in the complete autonomic computing process, what we have is, first of all, we are just going to see the definition. Then we are going to understand what was the need, why it evoluted, right? We are seeing the complete evolution of computing, right? From serial computing till this particular autonomic and cloud computing. Now, in autonomic computing, what it is, it refers to the self-managing characteristics of distributed computing resources, adapting to unpredictable changes while hiding intrinsic complexity to operators and users. Now, we are just going to see the highlighted points. Autonomic computing refers to what? The characteristic of self-managing of distributed computing resources. We have already seen what are distributed computing resources, how the distributed computing takes place. And what we are doing, we are adapting. In autonomic computing, we are adapting the unpredictable changes while hiding the intrinsic complexity to operators and users. So to understand this, I'll just come back to this particular definition. Before that, I need to tell you something about other thing in this, so that it becomes easy for you to understand this particular definition. Now see, earlier what we were using was, we were using algorithmic computing. Now what is this algorithmic computing? Whatever you had done till date, that is, let's say you are writing a program for heuristic research, you are writing a program for binary search, and so many more. You are writing a program for calculating certain numbers, for mathematical operations, and many more. So what you do is, you write an algorithm. What is an algorithm? It is a set of rules which are being taken up to solve a particular problem. Now, this particular set of rules are being taken up by the programmer and coded in a certain language, where he is going to think all the possible cases and decisions beforehand. That means the complete situation, the future situation, is known to the programmer, and that is how it is going to understand all the possible cases. Let's say if I'm just writing an algorithm for calculating the numbers, addition of two numbers, or creating a calculator example. So what at all, we all know that we have different operators, and what are the operators that can be used? We can include all the operators. We know the numbers, the numericals which are being used, so we are going to include that particular. We can also include the log algorithms, etc. So now here exponential values can also be used. So we have a situation which is known to us. So we are solving a problem which is known to us, and there is no uncertainty involved in this particular problem. So wherever there is no uncertainty involved in the problem, there it is easy to use the algorithmic computing, because we have a defined set of rules to solve this particular problem, and this particular problem does not have any unpredictable circumstances or situation that can arise in future. So there we use algorithmic computing, right? Now, what happens if this algorithm fails? Algorithmic approach fails. Now, where this particular algorithmic approach can fail? It can fail wherever we have a particular problem in which I have incomplete information. Wherever I have incomplete information regarding the problem, there this algorithmic approach will not work. Wherever the environment is dynamically changing, that means the environment is changing according to the time. It is not static. It will not remain same all the time. So for an environment which remains static, you can create a program, you can write an algorithm, but when the environment is changing dynamically, you cannot write a program easily. This particular approach will fail. Unforeseen cases, all possible cases are being taken up by the programmer, But what happens if there are unforeseen cases or unmanageable complexities? If there are emerging behaviors which were not seen earlier. So all these conditions, when arising at that particular point of time, this algorithmic approach fails. Now, if I say that, example, let's say if you are having a internet site, and over that particular internet site, all of a sudden the number of users or the hit are more than the average which has been till date, because you cannot exactly forecast how many users are going to hit your site. You cannot predict it exact number. So this is a dynamically changing environment. So what you need to do here, your algorithmic approach will not work. You need to do something more. So what something more you can do? You need a computing or a computation process which is self-managing. That means which can manage according to the change in the environment. As the environment changes, as more users are hitting the site, you can add more servers, right? As the users are reducing, the hit is reducing on the website, the servers can be killed. So this is what? This is the adaptability of computation with the change in environment. So this is what we need to do. So this is being failed wherever we have these particular conditions in a problem. So this algorithmic computing does not work over there. Now then what we are going to do? We are going to use autonomic computing. Right, now what is this autonomic computing? I used a term self-managing. Now here, all the characteristics of autonomic you are going to see. It is self. It is self-managing, self-learning, self-optimizing, self-healing. That means it is going to do on its own. It does not need any human intervention time to time, every time, right? So where we are going to use this particular autonomic computing? Whenever there is a problem which is not fully defined, or wherever there is an environment which is uncertain. As example I have taken about the site, there can be a lot of number of users hitting your site at a particular point of time, and at a point of time there is either one or two user who is hitting your site. So at the time when there are more users, then there can be a failure to your site. Your site can crash if you do not have that much of server to handle that particular traffic, right? So this is what the condition is when we use the autonomic computing. Again, we have, but what if situations are too complex to be predicted, or the environment is changing dynamically, right? The environment is not being static. There we are going to use autonomic computing. Now I just moved to the earlier slide, which I left behind. And now you read this particular definition. We are using distributed computing resources. We have already seen what it is. So in this particular, whenever we have the characteristics of self-managing for these particular resources, and they can adapt to unpredictable changes while hiding the complexity to operators and users. The users who are hitting the site, they do not know the servers are being included at that particular moment only, or when the servers are being killed. So this complexity is not known to the operators or the users. This is how the autonomic computing is going to work. That means it is going to self-regulate, self-manage, self-optimize, self-heal, self-adapt, etc., etc. Now, the question comes, what is the history of this particular autonomic? We have already seen why this particular was introduced. Now it was proposed by Jiming Liu in the year 2001, and it is the I can say the product of IBM. This was introduced by IBM. What it uses artificial systems. Now this is going to it came up with the possibility that we need self-managing, self-regulating, self-optimizing, self-healing systems or servers, so that it can mimic the human nervous system, because human nervous system is the one that is going to self-heal, that is going to self-manage, that is going to self-regulate, that is going to self-optimize, and it can work for any unpredictable situations. And we can adapt to the dynamic change in the environment. So that is what the concept used the artificial system. On October 15 of the year 2001, IBM research president Paul Horn presented a solution. What was the solution? In the growing complexities, and mentioned that the answers lied in the building computer systems. They need to build computer systems that can regulate themselves in a manner in which our nervous system regulate and protect our bodies. So this is the concept behind the self-regulating systems. So it includes the artificial intelligence. You all know about the self-learning. Self-learning is through machine learning, right? That is again mimicking the human brain. So what it is using what? It is using the capabilities of human nervous system, which can regulate itself to protect its body, right? So same way, we need to build the computer systems which are going to regulate themselves in the same manner. Okay. Now, what is the need of autonomic computer? We have already answered this particular question, but still we can see that with the increase in the demand for computers, computer-related problems are also increasing. They are becoming more and more complex. So to reduce this particular complexity, we need to have autonomic computing. The complexity has become so much that there is a spike in demand for skilled workers, and skilled workers are needed. We need so many data scientists, we need data analysts, we need the people who have the complete knowledge of artificial intelligence in different branches. This has fostered the need for autonomic computers that would do computing operations without the need of human intervention or manual intervention. So every time we do not need a operator to operate the computer to do different tasks. We want the computer itself to regulate. Now we are going to see what are the basic properties of autonomic computing. Now what is this basic properties? It includes 3 A's. What are the 3 A's? The 3 A's are automatic, adaptive, and aware. Now automatic means it is going to execute all its operations on its own without the manual intervention. That means it does not need any human being or human person to execute its operations. Now these particular execution of operations involves everything, whether to starting up the servers, whether to kill the servers, whether to include the more servers, as I have already given examples in the cloud computing and grid computing. Next one is adaptive. Adaptive is whenever the change is there in the environment. So we see that there are certain unforeseen conditions in the maybe the traffic, maybe the security attack, maybe the system failures. So all those particular conditions must be adapted with much less failure by the autonomic computers. That means autonomic computers must be able to make changes according to the environment and other foreseen conditions such as security attacks, system breakdowns, etc., so that there is minimum failure which is existing, and there is less of disruption in the services. So this is how the adaptation is going to be taken up as the property of autonomic computing. Next one is aware. Now, the system has to be aware of all the internal states and processes which are being executed in the automatic part and the adaptive. That means all the processes which are including in the automation and the adaptation, the system should be aware of all these particular processes. Now, we are going to see that there are 4 major areas of autonomic computing. What are these 4 major areas? They are self-configuration, self-healing, self-optimization, and self-protection. Now just see, we are always using self. Self means no human intervention. We need the computer itself or the server itself to do all these particular things. Now, self-configuration, we are going to understand. We are going to talk about automatic configuration of components. See what it is. Whenever the system configures and reconfigures itself in order to adapt to various possibly unpredictable conditions so as to continuously meet a set of business objectives, then it is to be said to be as self-configuration. Now, example we have taken up as integration of new autonomic elements or reconfiguration of the runtime system. That means in the topology, how many number of nodes or elements we have, we can add on to the number of nodes and we can work on with the configuration. So it should configure itself and reconfigure itself according to the number of elements which are being included in the topology, and it should work to meet the set of goals or the business objectives it has. Next one is the self-healing. Now, self-healing is what? Self-healing means healing. You can just see whenever there is a failure, whenever there is an attack, whenever there is security threat, whenever there is disruption in the services, then the system, then the autonomic system should work with minimum disruption in the services, with minimum failure, with minimum minimum response time. It should heal itself. An autonomic system detects, diagnoses, and recovers from routine or extraordinary problems while trying to minimize service disruption. There can be service disruption, there can be failures, but it should be with the minimum impact. So what it need to do? It need to update its software time to time. It should restart whenever there is a failure in the elements. It can it can identify and enable alternate resources. It can also foresee the threats which can come up. Now, next one is the self-optimizing. What is this self-optimizing? Self-optimizing is, optimization means giving the best in whatever you are doing, maybe the performance. So performance, if I'm talking about performance optimization, then I mean to say I'm giving the best quality or minimum response time or minimum recovery time. Or if I'm talking about power consumption, so minimum power consumption should be taken care. So optimization can be in any field, right? So it is continuously seeks ways and sizes opportunities to improve its operation with respect to multiple possibly conflicting criteria. Exactly, example if I take, improve and maximize the quality of services, performance, power consumption, resilience, etc. So all these are considering what? Optimization in different fields, maybe in quality of service, maybe in power consumption, maybe in performance, maybe in recovery time, maybe in response time, etc., etc. Last one is self-protecting. This is the 4th one. So what is self-protecting? Self-protecting it, I need to protect. The other one was to heal. Now here it is to protect. Protect means I need to foresee the threats which can come in the future. So what I need to do, what the system needs to do, it should anticipate. Anticipate means it should predict it in the future. It should anticipate, detect, identify, and protects itself from internal and external threats. Now, these threats can be any threats. It can be due to the complexity. It can be due to the traffic. It can be due to the virus attacks, or it can be due to the external attacks, etc., in order to maintain the quality attributes. So these quality attributes should be maintained considering what? Security, as I talked about, threats, integrity, availability, no intervention, no third party intervention, and many more things. So what are the examples? Identify and enable alternate resources, download software updates, restart failed elements, request human assistance, and neutralizes malicious activities. So all these are coming under the self-protecting. So what it has to be, this autonomic system, this autonomic computing should be self-configuring, self-healing, self-protecting, or self-optimizing, right? So these are what? These are the 4 main areas. This we have seen. So this is configuration, healing, optimization, and protection. This I have just given one word to this particular, and I have explained it in detail. Now, when I say this particular model, how does it do? How does it work? So we do not have to get into very detail about the architecture. It is just for your knowledge purpose that whenever we have an autonomic system, we have a logic, we include the purpose. Purpose is the objective. What is the objective of this particular system? Know-how, that means the working of details. There are sensors. There are many more things like managed elements are there. There is artificial intelligence working on with this. It can be according to the type. If it is a self-learning system, then like supervised or unsupervised learning algorithms must be running into it. Or if it is another type of model in which we are working for the website, so load balancers are needed. So load balancers are working for that. So there are different type of models which can be used for the autonomic system. It depends on the purpose it is being used. Now, what are the applications that can be used for this autonomic system? This can be, application includes server load balancing. Server load balancing, as I've told you earlier also, what it is, you can adjust the load. You can add on to the servers, or you can kill the servers according to the traffic you have. Process allocation, that means you can include the number of processors, and you can allocate the instructions, you can allocate the execution of process to different processors. It can be parallel, it can be distributed, or it can be any type, grid, depending on the type you are using. Monitoring of power supply, automatic updating of software, that is for the self-healing purpose, and many more. So these are what? These are the applications of this autonomic computing. So this defines the autonomic computing.